gas and coal, and I think that it is very important to adapt ourselves to the extremely challenging phenomenon of climate change. And there is also another front of the diversification that is in geographically terms, and for us it is very important to explore the way to reinforce our partnership with Africa. And we know that Nigeria could be like the best gateway in order to reinforce that cooperation, as Colombia must be the gateway in order to Nigeria to get into Latin American affairs. As you know, we are right now chairing the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, and we would like to stress in this visit that it's very important for us to explore ways into have like a more strong cooperation with the African Union and with the ECOWAS or the CEDEAO. Secondly, I think that this visit happens in a very critical moment in the global affairs. As you know, I think that we both, Nigeria and Colombia, as countries of global south, are victims of a very weak state of multilateral system. There are, for me, like two aggressions that we are being very victim to. The first one is the trade barriers that have been decided unilaterally by some countries of the global north, and there is also what is happening and is unacceptable in Gaza Strip. We are witnessing a genocide that is not only against Palestinian people, but it is also a very brutal aggression against the principle of self-determination, a principle that is very important to us, all of the countries in the global south. So we are proposing a partnership between Africa and Latin America and the Caribbean states to defend, to promote, to stand up the international humanitarian law, the international law, and all the international system that has been built since the Second World War. We would like also to say that we have to show some concrete results. We have to show the people that integration is not only about speeches, is not only about words, but we must have some concrete, tangible results. That's why we are here. We are proposing to the Nigeria's government, in my case, two very important memorandum of understandings. The first one, to have like a very frequent political dialogue, and for that we are proposing to have it next year in Colombia, in Bogota, the first round of political consultation. That would be like a very important step towards a more concrete relationship. And secondly, we need from you the exemptions for the visas for diplomats, so that for us it could be easier to come here and to take advantage of these critical moments for both sides. I would end this very short comment saying that and taking some of the words that had been spoken by Madame the Vice President of Colombia yesterday right here. She was saying that unfortunately there was like this pathway of slavery between Africa and Latin America, and I would like to say, to respond, that we need to transform that pathway, that what used for slavery, we have to transform it into some kind of a highway to cooperate, a highway of friendship, a highway of trade, because we need to show people that regional integration, Africa and Latin America and the Caribbean, is possible. A common dialogue could reach citizens. It is important for us to show them that when there is political will, when we show that we could be able to get closer to regions that unfortunately have been separated, we are showing them that when there is political will, there is enough to make the ideals of the post-Second World War a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With the Nigerian economy. As strategic domestic companies, which this administration takes pride in supporting, and Nigerian domestic companies are the best advertisement for this economy. So leaders in their fields are complementary to your strengths. We believe today marks the beginning of partnerships that can deliver shared growth and opportunity. Our opportunities for partnership can be framed across 4 broad pillars: agriculture and agribusiness. Nigeria's agricultural commodities, combined with Colombia's expertise in processing, can create high-value products for global markets, and vice versa. We actually have similar, I know for sure coffee is one of those areas. Energy and natural resources. Both nations, and I must say that my colleagues from some of these agencies and some of these ministries are here, seated here today. So the Honorable Minister of State for Oil is here. So energy and natural resources, both nations are energy rich. Nigeria welcomes Colombian investment in renewables, oil field services, and clean energy technology transfer. In the global energy transition, Nigeria's 200 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves, Africa's largest, is complementary. Industrialization, manufacturing, and infrastructure. Our special economic zones offer incentives for Colombian firms to manufacture competitively for African markets and beyond. Digital and creative industries. Again, the Honorable Minister responsible for creative industries and tourism is right here with us today. Nigeria's large pool of creative and tech talent and Colombia's digital marketing expertise, we can co-create new industries across fintech, outsourcing, culture, and entertainment. So in conclusion, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has continuously stated, Nigeria is open for business. Bold reforms, vast opportunities, and a commitment to sustainable growth awaits our partners. Today, we extend a direct invitation to our Colombian colleagues. Explore Nigeria's economy, our modernized tax policy, our special economic zones, our incentives, our legal protections under relevant legislations. My counterpart was just talking in our bilateral about having a direct investment to make sure that we can G2G, give a direct agreement to make sure that we can support businesses in this initiative. So Nigeria's trade and investment story, which is one of resilience, transformation, and boundless potential, makes you our natural partners. We are poised to lead our respective regions. With Colombian partners, we have an extraordinary opportunity to build new bridges of commerce between Africa and Latin America. As we deliberate today, let us focus not just on transactions, but on sustainable partnerships that will stand the test of time. Together, we can build the future, and the future starts now. Thank you for your attention.
In a world where the road to the future is paved with the ideas we share and the partnerships we forge. Each passing day, we find a reason to shrink the distance between us and our partners and allies. And this particular moment is a memorable chapter in the history of two nations with boundless possibilities to offer each other. It is my profound honor to welcome you to Abuja, the beating heart of our nation, and to this gathering that marks not just a meeting of friends, but the reawakening of our bond as partners in the international community. Your Excellency, we gather here to receive our kin from another part of the world, and so I extend a most heartfelt welcome once again to our sister in destiny, Her Excellency Francia Elena Marquez, Vice President of the Republic of Colombia, and the distinguished members of her delegation. I have no doubt that in the warmth of our people and the rhythm of our hospitality, we will find every moment here both memorable and enriching. I therefore wish to commend Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, for your efforts in identifying with the African continent and advancing economic interchange between our two nations. I am optimistic that with the present arrangement, this visit will further enhance our bilateral relations and continue to provide mutual opportunities for the promotion of Nigeria-Colombia political consultation and business prospects for our peoples. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to explore new opportunities, deepen our partnerships, and address common challenges. We cannot achieve that unless we compare our differences and similarities, as well as our resources and potential. This is a practical way to propel trade and investment, improve agriculture, foster culture, and exchange ideas that will mutually benefit our countries. The private sectors of our two nations are therefore urged to take advantage of the abundant potential of our countries and transform them into tangible economic gains. There is no doubt that we are coming together at a time when the uncertainties of the global economy and the politics that undercut it are reshaping trade patterns. The tariffs that confront our exports in other parts of the world are a reminder of the danger of dependence on a narrow base. For Nigeria, this is a call to diversify our exports beyond crude oil, expanding into agriculture, minerals, and manufactured products. I believe that Colombia too is bound by the determination to expand its economy beyond the bounds of tariff barriers. Our two countries must seize this moment to engage in trade negotiations and agreements that reduce barriers and open new gateways to markets we have not fully explored. Tariffs, while daunting, can serve as an invitation for deeper innovation and cooperation. They can attract foreign investments as companies seek to establish local production hubs in Nigeria and Colombia to bypass restrictions and access larger markets. In this context, our businesses should look beyond mere survival. They should form partnerships with foreign companies, collaborating in production, distribution, and knowledge exchange. By doing so, they can not only navigate tariffs, but also create a stronger presence in global value chains. Your Excellencies, these global constraints are the reason Nigeria is embarking on purposeful actions to elevate agriculture from subsistence to mega business. We are transforming smallholders into global conglomerates. As a country, we are investing in innovative technologies for livestock breeding, developing machinery, producing chemical-based products such as fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides, and creating a strong supply chain. This is also an area where partnership with Colombia will be vital. We must prioritize sectors that are natural pillars of our economies. In agriculture, we share comparative strength in coffee, cocoa, and tropical fruits. In energy, Nigeria remains a leader in oil and gas, while Colombia has potentials in coal and renewable energy. In manufacturing, from textile to machinery, both nations can collaborate to build capacity, exchange knowledge, and attract the kind of investments that secure jobs and prosperity for our peoples. No country, I repeat, no country, can achieve its maximum output and productive potential without fully harnessing the capabilities, endowments, and competencies of its women. Nigeria disapproves of all forms of discriminatory practices against women, girls, and children. Women's protection is one of the priority areas of our development plans and programs. In eliminating the barriers faced by women in political and socio-economic life, we are making tremendous efforts to sustain the rise of female entrepreneurship in micro and macroeconomic sectors, as well as encouraging and supporting women to contest political positions at all levels. So, Dr. Jumoke, Iman, and not to the ball is in your court. If we are to capitalize these opportunities, both Nigeria and Colombia must do three things. First, monitor global trade policies to adapt swiftly. Second, diversify exports to reduce dependence on single products. And third, create a business environment attractive enough for foreign investors. By pursuing these, our nation can turn shifting tides into shared prosperity. Our practical roadmap to the future is to acknowledge that culture is a bridge for innovation, economic development, and mutual prosperity. Nigeria's creative sector remains an engine for unleashing the potential of our teeming youth population. Reinforcing our connections in culture, education, science, and technology is fundamental for building a resilient and globally competitive creative economy. Shakira is Colombia's greatest export to the world. And her famous song, Hips Don't Lie, from Beze Park. Greatness doesn't lie. Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa and projected to be the third most populous nation on earth by 2050 and will be the most populous nation in the world by the end of the century. Colombia has the second largest population of people of African descent in South America. Colombia is a great nation that has produced some of the greatest footballers in the world. Colombia, it must be mentioned, Gabriel Marquez, 100 Years of Solitude, is a masterpiece. So also is Love in the Time of Cholera. Reinforcing our connections in culture, education, science, and technology is fundamental to building a resilient and globally competitive creative economy. It is therefore time to collaborate in capacity building, skills development, cultural exchange, digital innovation, and intellectual property protection. We must extend our acquaintance to each other's literature, languages, music, themes, arts, and festival. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is no gainsaying that the tourism sector has become one of the main vehicles of economic growth and development. Tourism is no longer a choice, but a necessity for diversifying national economies, creating jobs, generating income, and bridging cultural gaps amongst nations. It is better late than never. The largest population of Africans in the world outside of Nigeria is in Brazil. But it's only last week that we reconnected with Brazil after over 40 years of disconnection. I believe that today we rekindle our relationship with the great nation of Colombia. I assure you that Nigeria is blessed with enormous tourism potentials, with a teeming population of more than 250 ethnic groups with their distinctive arts, crafts, cultures, and languages. Our natural resources, including hills, plains, valleys, rivers, waterfalls, flora, and fauna across our 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, are yet to be fully explored and are waiting for massive investments. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we set forth into the future and expand the scope of our interactions for mutual benefit, let me seize this opportunity to once again welcome you and your delegation home to Nigeria, a land of promise and abundant opportunities. At this juncture, I want to jointly with my colleague, Her Excellency Francia Elena Marquez, declare open the Nigeria-Colombia Business Forum.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for that insightful